Today, we're going to go through part 3 of my questions and answers series, the first one I've ever run. It's been good fun so far, so please, do check out part 1 and part 2. But the first question today is from Talon Sports Media, and he says, what kind of content, I should say, do you want to see more of / less of from influencers? And I'm not too judgmental when it comes to this sort of stuff. I consume everything, whether it be card show vlogs, breaking, anything and everything, news content, watchdog content. I literally watch everything because I'm obsessed with this hobby, right? As I am with many different hobbies. So I'm not going to sort of point the finger at people and saying you shouldn't be doing this. But, one thing that I've said for a long time that would be really beneficial for the hobby if people did more of this would be, the work that goes into being a card show vlogger, the work that goes into being a breaker, like show the behind the scenes kind of stuff as well. Because one of the things I've sort of taken frustration with over the last few years as I've talked to is card show vloggers in particular, and also breakers to a lesser extent, where they, portray the hobby as being super easy, right? It's all roses and daisies or whatever the saying is, and you just go to a card show and you sort of buy these cards you can flip, etc., etc. But they don't actually show how much work goes into that sort of stuff, right? When I'm looking at people that do this a little bit better, it's probably someone like Keen. He does a good job now showing, the whole postage process and all that kind of thing. But so many guys only show the card show and they make it look really sort of fun and exciting for young men to do in particular, who are now going out there and sort of chasing that dream, not realizing that it's really a struggle to pay the bills doing that sort of stuff. And they don't actually know that some of these guys that film this content are sleeping in their cars between shows and all that kind of thing, right? We need a bit more clarity around that so we can make sure that people are sort of not chasing something that's going to almost ruin their lives, right? The last thing I want to try and see is, guys out there doing something at such a young age, it doesn't really have a whole lot of security with it, and they're running in head first and having fun, which is, important, chase their dreams, all that kind of thing. But they're doing that, not realizing all these hurdles that these guys are not talking about. And I just wish, some of these vloggers and stuff like that spoke about that a little bit more and showed that a little bit more. And, someone like Flipping Steve talked about that a long time ago, that exact thing where he wishes these guys actually showed how hard it was to do things. And it's part of the reason why it's so refreshing to see somebody like SCV Sports Cards, who's blown up recently. He's doing daily videos and all that kind of thing, because he's talking about the things that these other guys are not talking about. And that's what people need to hear. They actually need to know it's tough, and they need to know what the challenges are and all that kind of thing, because that's how you get people to be, number one, more educated and more informed with what it is they're trying to do. But then number two, be more successful with what it is they're trying to do. You don't need to lie to your audience. And I think some people are intentionally, and some people are doing it, accidentally, and that doesn't make it okay. But we just need to be better across the board. And maybe there's some of that I can be doing better as well. But it is what it is. Now, the next question is from Tom Bullard 6167, and he says, favorite childhood collecting memory and most memorable sporting event. So go to the collecting memory first. I've talked about this before on the channel. It is one of the first cards that I can remember actually hitting in a pack. It would have been in 1999. It was a Pokemon. I'm assuming it was a first edition. I'm not sure if we got first editions here in Australia, but I got a pack and it was a Zapdos, holo from the first set, right? And being a kid, that was freaking awesome. But what made that memory probably even more special, and the reason why I'm trying to chase a PSA 9 and 10 of that, PSA 10 is too expensive, so it'll have to be a PSA 9, is because of how I went about and bought that pack, right? My dad and my mum used to work, 12-hour days basically, so I never saw them. And on the odd occasion, they'd pick me up from school, right? Typically, I'd go to like after-school care programs and all that kind of thing until my parents finished work to come pick me up. On this particular day, my dad surprised me and my sister up. He picked us up, took us to the shops because he had to get something. He bought me a pack of Pokemon cards, and I got nothing in it. And me being like the little shit that I am, I asked my dad if I could go buy another pack of cards, and he said yes. And, in hindsight now, to make that moment even more special was the fact that we grew up super poor, right? So even though that pack may have cost $3 or $4 or whatever it did back in the day, that was a really big thing for my dad, number one, to buy me one, but then to give me a second one. So I still feel a little bit guilty about the fact that I went and asked for a second one, but I was an 8, 9-year-old, so cut me some slack. But I went back in, bought that second pack. I remember running back to the car and opening it, and I got it, and I was like, obviously super happy, super exciting, and it's just something that, still sticks with me. I can still almost smell the car when I was sitting in there opening that pack, right? And sort of memories like that are what the hobby is all about, right? It's part of the reason why, I collect things and do all that sort of stuff. So that's probably the best card collecting memory that I can remember. It's also the first pack that I can actually remember opening, which is pretty cool to have that still stuck in your mind all these decades later. To the second part of your question around most memorable sporting event, This is probably a hard one because I've got, selection paralysis right now. I should have thought about this beforehand, but I'm coming in blind with these questions. I don't know, actually. My team, the Parramatta Eels, we made a couple of grand finals. It was a really good run in 2009. That was, fantastic to watch, but we, unfortunately lost the grand final. There's been a few games that have been super amazing to attend over the years from a rugby league perspective. I didn't get to attend the 2005 playoff between Australia and Uruguay to qualify for our first World Cup in 30 years. We're talking about soccer now. But I got to watch that on TV, and sort of having the whole country get behind a team and celebrate like we did on that night was probably one of the best memories that I can have when it comes to sporting teams. In terms of going to games myself, my football team, or my soccer team, I should say, in our local league, the A-League, the Western Sydney Wanderers, we made a few grand finals when we first came into the league. I think our team came in maybe 2010 or something along those lines. Made a couple of grand finals. We lost them all. The grand final is the equivalent of our Super Bowl in our sports, right? And just to give you a bit of a caveat, I've been to, 4 or 5 grand finals. I think 5 grand finals across my two teams, and we've lost every single one of them. So it's not good. But, we did a boys trip when we qualified for a grand final against the team in Brisbane. The final was held in Brisbane. We flew up there. The whole plane was full of Wanderers supporters. The whole plane was chanting, and plane was shaking because everybody was going crazy like typical soccer fans. But, that whole weekend around the city of Brisbane and getting to interact with people was, super fun. So the game itself was, really disappointing in the end, but the environment, the mateship, behind it, around it was also really fun. So I know that was a long-winded answer, so I do apologize, but probably all of those. I've got selection paralysis. There's too many games to sort of pick from in terms of games I've attended myself. The next question, Cloudsy420 Suff Cards, I believe it is what it says. Sweet content, buds. It's not really a question, so obviously thank that guy for liking the content. And I'm really appreciative of you guys as always, because I do this for fun. I don't need to do it for a living or anything like that. I get hardly any money off the back of this from YouTube revenue. It's a pittance, but I literally just do it for fun, right? I come on, talk to a camera, share my thoughts, and try and give some insight and create informative content for you guys. So I'm always super thankful when you guys say you do in fact enjoy it. The next question from Auburn 35 or 35 Auburn. Any news or updates from Australia about card porn /1? I did hear some things maybe a month or two ago with one of the people that he did in fact, or allegedly scam here, I should say, allegedly scam. And my understanding was that something was going to happen in the next month or so, but nothing has sort of transpired since then. I've also heard some whispers that there's, things going on between federal agencies in the States and also here in Australia. But other than that, I really don't have too much to talk to. My understanding is the guy is still in Melbourne. There's some rumors about him hiding somewhere in Asia, but I don't think that's the case. The mail to me is that he's in Melbourne and he's sort of working through things. I think the only other thing that I can update on that most people probably haven't heard is, I think Raul covered this in a video, but AIH Sports, but he's actually refunded one of the people that, he allegedly scammed. I think it was with that, star Jordan rookie. So it's good to sort of see that's happened. Hopefully he can make some of these other things right, but it's a bit of a messy situation. I think there is another comment here from Dope Cards. He says, damn, Dan, why some peeps talking shit about you now? What's the deal with that? Even people I thought you were cool with doing lives with them, now they're talking shit. What's up with that? I asked in the comments who he was actually talking to, and he didn't actually clarify who it was, so I don't actually know. But as I've always said with this sort of stuff, if there's people that are haters out there, drop a comment down below. Let's have a chat. I'm pretty open and honest. I've been on live streams with a number of different people, so I'm not sure who you're talking to. But please shoot me a DM if you are one of those people and you do have a problem with me, because I'm always happy to chat, and that stuff is always open. And if you want to chat on the video, we can chat on the video as well. You just got to let me know who you are in the first place, so I know who's actually offended by me and maybe what I said that was wrong or something along those lines. Now, the final question for today is going to be from Thomas Adams 9230, and he says, I may have missed it, but what are your thoughts on one of the Topps definitive products hits, Bruce/Otani, being pulled for release day? I believe I talked to this in a recent video, or was that Topps Tier 1 Baseball? That was Topps Tier 1 Baseball. So my thoughts would be the same sort of thing. Which breaker hit them? What was the circumstances for them to get the box in the first place? If this, is another case of, what happened with Leighton Sports, and it might be them. I haven't been able to confirm yet because I'm just reading this comment live now. But if it was Leighton Sports and it was on Fanatics Live and it was on the preview day, that raises a shit ton of questions. And if that Ruth/Otani auto falls into the same category, then again, my thoughts would be very much the same, i.e. incredibly suspicious. Now, we had a live stream the other day and Carvin actually came on, so please do check out that live stream, and he gave us a bit more insights into the box packaging process and all that kind of thing, and that should give some context to people. But my point still stands. If a business wants to do something dodgy, there is nothing stopping somebody from wanting to do something like that and handle and funnel boxes to certain people, no matter how far-fetched or likely these things actually are. I would not be surprised if that kind of stuff could occur. So I need to look into this one a little bit more, but thanks for raising that question, and give me some more information down below specifically so I can look into it further myself. So I think we'll keep it there for this video. Thank you for watching. As always, please drop more questions down below if you are interested in me answering some more questions on the channel, and I'm hopefully going to start doing this a little bit more than what I have been lately, because you guys are sort of the reason why I'm even relevant on YouTube in the first place. And it feels really silly to say relevant, because that's a really dumb thing to say. I do this literally for fun, but interacting with you guys is the whole reason why I do this. I've said that many times. Chatting to you guys in the comments is exactly why I have this channel, because that's how we can sort of inform each other, get educated, and have some fun within this hobby. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.